Drunk hummingbirds. According to a new study from the University of California, Berkeley, nectar-filled flowers and backyard feeders provide hummingbirds with alcohol thanks to fermenting yeast. But does that mean they're drunk all the time? Actually, hummingbirds barely feel any effects of intoxication, if they feel any at all. This is because their metabolism is incredibly fast. Humans survived an asteroid crash. Sounds like clickbait? Actually, it's about the ancestors of humans. Research has shown that the first primates emerged shortly before the asteroid impact, the one that wiped out the dinosaurs, which means they shared the planet with the giant reptiles for a while. The hospital will come to you. It's not a threat, I guess. Virtual wards are a thing that may be the future of healthcare. They'll provide patients with hospital-level care at home using some simple technology. Sensors will allow medical staff to monitor the patient's condition remotely. Such virtual wards are expected to enable patients who are admitted to the hospital to be discharged several days earlier while still receiving high-quality care. Viral nanny job posting. The job posting for a dog nanny with a salary of $127,227 a year that went viral had to be shut down because of the huge number of responses. The media attention caused the number of applications to grow from 300 to more than 2,000 in a few days. The ad asked for an exceptional and highly experienced person to provide top-tier care for their two beloved dogs, of an American billionaire family currently living in London.
Do they have an opening for a third dog?
Food that's hard to stomach. Suodiu, a fancy Chinese street food consisting of small river stones fried with a mixture of spices and herbs, has recently gone viral on the internet. Everyone's encouraged to suck on the stones, then spit them out. Although the whole world has only now learned about this strange dish, it was invented hundreds of years ago by boatmen. When they found themselves in the middle of the river without any real food while delivering goods, they had to improvise. To trick their stomachs, they stir-fried river pebbles with various seasonings, then sucked the rocks dry. The traditional dish was passed down from generation to generation, and now the internet has learned about it too. Cleanup catastrophe. An American janitor tried to turn off the buzzer in a science lab that was really annoying him. This resulted in the destruction of 25 years' worth of research and $1 million in damages. As it turned out, the freezer he turned off had extremely valuable cell cultures, samples, and other important scientific gizmos stored inside. Following the shutdown, the freezer, initially set at minus 112 degrees Fahrenheit, experienced a rise in temperature to minus 26 degrees Fahrenheit. This resulted in significant damage and destruction of nearly all scientific research. As a result, the Institute has filed a lawsuit against the cleaning company.
Admit it, your worst workday at work doesn't seem so bad anymore.
The ants disabled the internet. It would seem, what problems can the ants possibly cause? Ruin your picnic? However, in Altweinholzen, Germany, hundreds of ants have demonstrated their ability to cause more significant damage by nesting in the distribution boxes of the city's sole telecommunications provider. Crawling inside the boxes, the insects left thin acid trails behind them, and these trails, in turn, simply shorted out the power lines. Not to mention the fact that the ants had chewed through some of the finer parts. As a result, the entire town has faced 5 disruptions in a year, rendering people unable to make phone calls or use the internet. Actually, we're only halfway through 2023, and the ants are persistently causing trouble without any intention of stopping. Angry Email Translator. As of the end of June, a free tool emerged that allows you to translate angry messages into a more polite tone. We all know those moments when we wish we could tell someone, be it a colleague, client, or a person around, what we really think of them. Now, thanks to the Angry Email Translator, you can actually do it. This tool, powered by artificial intelligence, converts aggressive emails into more professional and courteous ones. As the description states, the Angry Email Translator provides the ability to rephrase text, ensuring that communication remains respectful. It helps maintain a positive attitude even in the most difficult situations. In fact, the neural network conveys the same message, but in an acceptable form. GTA bug brought to life. YouTubers made a super low car as if it has fallen into the textures. Why? Because they're YouTubers. Also because it's fun. The mechanics from the Carmageddon YouTube channel have unveiled the world's most lowered vehicle. It might look like the vehicle has fallen into the texture of the road. The starting point for the development was an old Fiat Panda, which was cut in half and fitted with a new chassis. Due to limited interior space, driving the car requires a reclined position. Despite the lack of comfort, you can actually drive this car. It's definitely not convenient, of course, but hey, the car is stuck in textures. What else do you need? Barbie's house is back on Airbnb. Have you ever wanted to live in a pink Barbie house? To celebrate the long-awaited release of Barbie, Ken invites 2 happy guests to stay at the newly renovated dream house. Located in sunny Malibu, the oceanfront mansion with panoramic views serves as the perfect backdrop for, well, probably everything, if you're okay with the pink color. True, you can only book it for one night from July 21st to 22nd. The entire stay will be free because Ken couldn't figure out how to put a price on it. After all, Ken likes the beach, not math. A book bought for 38 cents is now worth $6,000. A worn-out Harry Potter book bought for less than $1 and nearly lost in a storage container will be worth about $6,000 at an upcoming auction. The copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone turned out to be an ultra-rare first edition hardcover that was distributed to British libraries in 1997 at the same time as the first edition of the book. Only 500 copies were published and only 300 were sent to libraries. Workers in 70 years. Working from home was once a rare thing, but since the coronavirus pandemic, it's become the new norm for millions of people. It's convenient, but there may be a way to force people back into the office. This is a model of what people working from home will look like by 2100. Doesn't look that good, to be honest. A model named Anna has a hump, dark swollen eyes, and claw-like hands, all because she worked at home. Anna was created based on a study by the University of Leeds. It would seem the specific work environment can't truly make a difference. Well, surveys showed that 1/3 of office workers in the UK do not have a dedicated workplace at home. Working from bed has taken its toll on Anna. Her back is hunched over with raised shoulders, and staring at a screen all day has made her eyes red and swollen. The long hours spent with her hand curled around the mouse have caused Anna's fingers to curl into a kind of permanent claws. Well, don't forget about the other bonuses like a weak immune system and anxiety.
Will working in an office save you from all that? Like for real? I somehow doubt that.
Ancient women were hunters. It's been a common belief among scientists that in ancient societies, tasks were assigned based on gender roles where women engaged in gathering activities while men focused on hunting. But a new study, like several others, challenges that idea. Apparently, prehistoric women were just as skilled at killing game as men. In an article published in the journal PLOS ONE, a team of international researchers identified 391 gatherer societies around the world from the 1800s to the present day, and it turned out that in these societies, women hunted regardless of their maternal status. Not all of them, of course, but in 79% of them, which is an impressive figure. And more than 70% of the hunts were intentional, not the accidental killing of animals while performing other activities. Women even had their favorite weapons, and the best hunters in the village were believed to be grandmas.
Can you imagine your grandmother on the hunt? Mine would definitely hit a lion with her purse.
Fake loading bar. At the end of June, one of the game industry's worst-kept secrets was revealed. The progress in the loading bar is fake. But don't get outraged right away. The developers claim it can't be any other way. It all started with a joke by comedian Alistair Beckett King, who said that developers should focus on a loading bar that moves at an even speed so that it can be used to accurately track the remaining time. He soon got a response. Players don't trust the smooth loading bar. The hiccups and pauses show that the loading is biting, and that seems more realistic to people. So such hiccups are introduced artificially.
Our whole life has been a lie!
Mayor married a crocodile. While the audience applauded and danced, the mayor of a small town in southern Mexico married a female reptile in a traditional rite to bring good fortune to his people. Victor Hugo Sosa, mayor of a town of indigenous Chontal people, took a reptile named Alicia Adriana as his wife, reproducing an ancestral ritual. The marriage between a man and a female caiman has happened here for 230 years to commemorate the day the two indigenous groups came to peace through marriage. What a touching tradition. Mayonnaise versus oil. During an environmental disaster in Israel caused by an oil spill, a large population of turtles suffered the consequences, and they were treated in a very unusual way, with mayonnaise. The thing is, this popular sauce has both hydrophilic and hydrophobic particles. In simple terms, some of them can mix with water while others cannot. The way it works is that the dense oil inside the turtle mixes with mayonnaise, which makes it easier to move through the digestive system straight out of the turtle. How turtles feel about mayonnaise is not clear, though.
Help me, mayonnaise!
Climate change creates females. Scientists helping sea turtles along the Florida coastline reported shocking news based on their experience. Over the past 4 years, they found no baby male turtles. That is, not a single one. The turtle babies, whose sex depends on temperature, have come under severe heat pressure and all have been born female. Turtles typically exhibit a degree of temperature dependency, but not to the extent observed in this case. All this will lead to the fact that we'll see a sharp decline in their population. There will simply be fewer males than females. The genetic diversity left the chat. Pigeons versus natural disasters. Even in today's world of instant messaging, video calls, the internet, and cell phones, police in the eastern Indian state of Odisha keep a flock of carrier pigeons. They're needed to keep in touch during natural disasters when all technology fails. According to the police, these pigeons have been extremely helpful on at least 2 occasions in the last 40 years. They can fly as fast as 34 miles per hour and cover distances of up to 500 miles in one go. The ultimate Christmas fan. Speaking of pigeons, the town of Beverly in East Yorkshire still has a Christmas tree up. And not because the locals want to keep the holiday spirit up all year round. It's just that a wood pigeon is living there. The city council was supposed to remove the tree in January, but under the 1981 Wildlife and Countryside Act, it's illegal to take, damage, or destroy the nest of any wild bird while it's in use or under construction. That means the tree can't even be moved until the pigeon decides to move somewhere else. The tree is still adorned with lights, though they're turned off because the council didn't want to bother the pigeon by removing them. Eagle costume to scare away the seagulls.
Remember when we told you about seagulls terrorizing coastal towns? I think there's a solution.
18-year-old Corey Griefson makes about $250 a day walking in a harbor wearing an eagle suit. This scares off the local seagulls and allows tourists to not only enjoy the fast food in peace, but also take photos with Corey. True, the guy says it's not an easy job. Sly seagulls take revenge by pooping on his car every day. Vacation gone wrong. Wisconsin festival goers got more thrills than they bargained for, all because the roller coaster malfunctioned at the worst possible moment, and the poor people were forced to hang upside down for several hours. Eventually, of course, they were taken down, but they had to bring in special fire trucks with platforms. They were brought in from the 3 towns closest to the festival. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured.
New phobia unlocked.
Crack in the roller coaster. But that's not the worst that could happen. Carowinds Amusement Park in Charlotte, North Carolina has shut down the Fury 325 roller coaster after a video of a crack in it went viral. This is what the supporting pillar looked like on June 24th, and this is how it was filmed in early July. Each time the train approached the damaged pillar, the crack grew larger. It's not hard to imagine how it would have ended.
Okay, 2 new phobias already.
$90,000 and a beautiful house. In mid-June, Ireland announced a plan to revitalize more than 20 islands lying off its west coast. Always dreamed of living the perfect life in the countryside? Then this offer is definitely for you. Increased grants of up to $92,000 will soon be offered to people who want to refurbish vacant or abandoned homes on the islands and then live in them. Home officers are in the process of identifying eligible properties, but potential islanders should be aware that while there are no restrictions on buying property in Ireland, owning property does not guarantee you the right to live there. So you have to work hard to earn that right. An elephant peeling bananas. Elephants are smart enough to learn how to peel bananas, for example. Yes, they usually eat bananas whole, but Pang Fa, an elephant living in Berlin Zoo, has learned to eat only the pulp and to peel and discard the skin. Pang Fa seems to have picked up this skill by watching her caretakers, who regularly fed her peeled bananas. But peeling bananas is a rare skill in the elephant world, and none of the elephants at Berlin Zoo have adopted it. Pang Fa seems shy about showing off her special skill. When she eats bananas in a group, she swallows most of them whole, leaving only one to peel and eat later on her own. Also, according to researchers, Pang Fa not only knows how to peel bananas, but also does it faster than humans. Orcas steal fish increasingly more often. Orcas have long been known to steal fishermen's catch, but recently this clash for fish has turned into a real war off the coast of Alaska. Things got so intense that orcas began not only to steal, but also to recognize fishermen's boats and then chase them. Orcas are smart enough to distinguish one vessel from another just by the sound and even recognize when they're lowering their fishing gear into the water. And here's what's left of the catch after an orca visit. Kidnapping for shopping. Rodrigo Barcelos de Oliveira, a lawyer from the city of Rio de Janeiro, went into a mall and shopped in 11 stores, paying about $2,600. He then went to the police station and claimed he'd been kidnapped by criminals. He said that two men drove up to his car on a bike and then took him hostage. According to Rodrigo, for 5 hours, one of the kidnappers held him hostage while the other made purchases at the mall using his credit card. Is he for real? The law enforcement officers apparently decided that the story sounded weird. They checked the CCTV footage and found out that the man had spent all the money himself and invented the story with the kidnapping. When the police questioned the man, he confessed to what he'd done. In his defense, the lawyer stated that he made up this story because of his financial struggles.
That was a very strange plan.
A brick diet. A man from Congo switched to a diet of rocks, sand, and charcoal and refused to change it because he was disappointed with the usual foods.
So delicious!
From time to time, the man also tries ordinary food, but he claims it's lost its taste. According to him, nothing can compare to the meals made of stones that he eats.
Don't try this at home. Or outside, for that matter.
Ads in cat language. As a cat food brand created by vets, Goodest Cat definitely understands what cats want and what they need. At any rate, they definitely created their new ads with their target audience in mind.
Meow, 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 meow.
In addition to having their human spokesperson speak feline, Goodest Cat actually interviewed cats and several other animals to share their thoughts on the product. Fortunately, they added subtitles for the viewers who don't speak cat language. Otherwise, we would have had to ask our cat for help.
And I have no idea how to say, please translate that in cat language.
The Bead Vault. Have you heard about the seed vault that was created to preserve the diversity of our planet's plants? Well, scientists want to make a similar vault to store human bead samples from all over the world. By building this doomsday vault, they hope to protect the microbial diversity of the world. Researchers have also concluded that the rise in diseases including obesity, diabetes, asthma, allergies, inflammatory bowel disease, Alzheimer's disease, and autism may be linked to changes in the human microbiome. In layman's terms, the number of beneficial microorganisms in our guts has decreased, and there's nothing good about that. In order not to completely lose this important diversity, scientists want to preserve more beads.
That's a great idea, even if it does sound a bit weird.
Urinal test labs. Photos of a strange-looking urinal in a shopping mall somewhere in Beijing's business district went viral online and sparked heated debate. Apparently, it features a digital display with a built-in payment processing unit that allows users to submit a urine sample after they've gone to the bathroom, which means the urinal probably has hidden sensors that analyze urine for a bunch of markers, including calcium, glucose, protein, and others. Information on these screens suggests that the developer has been granted several patents for the urine analyzing technology, but the accuracy of the results may cause controversy, and likely an outcry among lab professionals. A millionaire beggar. An Indian man named Bharat Jain is being called the world's richest beggar after he amassed a fortune of $1 million on the streets of Mumbai. The man was born into a poor family, failed to get an education, and started begging on the streets. A sad fate, though not the most uncommon one. However, Jain's fortune is about $1 million now, and with such capital, his family is prospering. The man revealed that he earns about $728 a month by begging, which allows him to own a 2-bedroom apartment and rent out his 2 stores for about $364 a month. Relying on the generosity of strangers, he can earn $30 in 10 to 12 hours. Yes, you read that right. Even though he's already rich, he continues to beg.
Why stop if it works?
An octopus in the esophagus. How about getting a new phobia? Doctors in Singapore were shocked to find an octopus stuck in a man's esophagus when they performed a gastrointestinal examination. No, the man was alive. He just wasn't feeling well, so he decided to get checked. The unnamed man from Singapore first realized something was wrong when he started vomiting after eating. When his condition didn't change, he went to the hospital and the doctors there did a CT scan. At first, they found some kind of super dense mass, but then they realized it was a whole octopus. Apparently, it had gotten inside his body along with food and had somehow stuck to the man's esophagus in some unbelievable way. No, the octopus was already dead. It just stayed raw, and that apparently helped it stick inside. In any case, it was a lengthy and challenging process to extract the animal using forceps after several other methods proved ineffective. The good news is the octopus was pulled out.
This does it! I'll never eat raw octopus in my life!
Sea otter steals boards from surfers.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
When you live in warm California, you somehow don't expect that one day your surfboard might be taken away by a sea otter. But that's exactly what happened. An aggressive sea otter gets out of the water onto the boards, and surfers can't do anything about it. Okay, it certainly looks funny, but the United States Fish and Wildlife Service says the otter is a threat to public safety. They've even had to put up warning signs. Pizza cooked on a volcano. If you visit Guatemala one day, we have an awesome suggestion for you. Try pizza cooked on a volcano. Anyone can do it. You need to contact Pizza Pacaya and go to the national park where the volcano was located. By the way, the last time this volcano erupted was in 2021, so you'll have to go with a guide. Once on the spot, they'll make you a pizza. I think it looks delicious.
And it's probably going to be a lot more expensive than a regular pizza.
False alarm. A guy from Canvey Island, UK, dialed the police and claimed that someone in his neighbor's house was yelling for assistance. Naturally, the dispatcher sent 3 patrol cars immediately, but it wasn't until the officers arrived that they realized it wasn't a man screaming. The man living in that house had been breeding parrots for a whopping 21 years, and he's got such a diverse collection of birds that you can't catch a moment of silence in there. As it turns out, the call to the police was likely caused by a 3-year-old parrot named Freddie, who happened to be particularly agitated that day.
Go.
Police! Freddy's fine, in case you're wondering. He's just very vocal.
Snake started the fire. In the state of Georgia, a gigantic snake made its way inside a house, resulting in an accidental fire. If you happen to have a fear of both snakes and fires, this story is a terrifying combination. The fire department received a report about a house fire and swiftly responded to the call. The firefighters quickly extinguished the flames and proceeded to investigate the cause of the fire. They concluded that the house had caught fire due to a short circuit, but the surprising twist was discovering a snake that had apparently triggered it. The sneaky serpent had slithered under the floor through a hole beneath the stove and brushed against the wires.
The question is whether it did that on purpose.
A man and his dog in the Pacific Ocean. For 3 months, Australian Tim Shattuck and his dog Bella have been adrift in the Pacific Ocean. 3 months! All this time, the owner and his pet have been eating raw fish and drinking rainwater, which is how they managed to survive. It all started back in April when Shattuck set sail from Mexico to reach French Polynesia. On the journey, the boat was hit by a storm that damaged the electronics and Shattuck lost control. He was left with no choice but to keep drifting until a helicopter escorting the trawler spotted the man and his dog. But the most surprising thing is that the medic who examined the sailor said that he had surprisingly normal vital signs. And this is after 3 months of surviving on raw fish and rainwater. The dog, by the way, is also perfectly fine. The new end of the world. In mid-July, a group of divers came across a unique fish swimming off the east coast of Taiwan. It's an oarfish, a huge, deep-sea creature that's considered a very bad omen in Japanese mythology. The fish serves as a harbinger of earthquakes, tsunamis, and occasionally an outright apocalypse. However, it's important to mention that when the video was filmed, the world had not met its demise.
Hey, those of you watching this video from the future, is humanity still alive? Let us know in the comments.
Eviction of a 77-year-old hermit. An Israeli hermit has received an eviction notice from the government demanding that he vacate the cave he's called home for over 50 years. Back in 1973, Nassim Kalan, now 77 years old, settled in a small cave along the shores of the Mediterranean Sea near the city of Herzliya. Initially, he lived in a beach tent and gradually carved out space from the sandstone to create his future home. Over half a century, the Israeli turned the cave into a unique dwelling with a complex underground labyrinth, mosaic floor, and staircases. It looks quite beautiful and attracts tourists, but the construction was still illegal. Although the hermit was even connected to an electricity grid. Well, now he's being forcibly evicted. No more videos for gorilla. Who would have thought that smartphone addiction is a phenomenon that extends to numerous primate species? In Toronto, a zoo banned visitors from showing smartphone screens to a young gorilla as the animal had developed an unhealthy obsession. Similar to human experiences, this addiction had a negative impact on the gorilla's social interactions with its relatives. The gorilla became so addicted to the short videos shown by visitors that it completely stopped communicating with its friends. They probably didn't share its passion. What Twix stands for. It seems that some people have only recently learned what the name Twix stands for, despite the fact that the candy bar has been around for 55 years. The unexpected revelation came after a social media user directly addressed the brand. He asked, "I read that Twix is short for Twin Biscuit Sticks. Can you confirm or deny this?" The Twix company responded that the user was close, but not quite right. They clarified it's short for Twin Sticks.
I can't imagine how you'd survive a single day without this essential knowledge.
Glittering poo. Scientists are turning polar bears into fairies. Well, sort of. And thankfully, only in zoos so far. Researchers need poop samples from polar bears, but it becomes tricky to identify which waste belongs to which bear when multiple bears are together in one enclosure. Since bears cannot be directed to specific spots, a clever method has been devised. The bears are given a small amount of harmless glitter in their diet, which passes through their digestive system and, marks their poop. It's a truly ingenious idea. Salmon lured by the bear. Some people think fish goes well with beer, but as it turns out, the fish itself also loves beer. In Oregon, they're going to add beer yeast to the water of a salmon hatchery so the fish remember the smell. Then, when the fish are released, they can return to the exact same spot when it's time to breed. Salmon, in general, have a great sense of smell. It's what helps them return to the spawning grounds where they were born. So far, no one knows exactly what that smell is. Most likely, it's some combination of mineral and biological signals such as characteristic metals and the sense of their relatives.
What memories do you have of your childhood home?
Salmon raised in a hatchery form a connection between their birthplace and a particular kind of beer. There used to be problems with certain fish not returning, but seriously, who could resist swimming towards a place that smells like beer? Polite robber. In the state of California, a gunman robbed a man and then apologized to him. Guess he kinda felt guilty? The robber first approached the man with a gun in hand and demanded cash, but the victim only had his cell phone and a credit card with him, so they had to go to the ATM. Which already sounds a bit absurd, but still. The criminal forced the man to withdraw a small amount of money from the card, then drove him back in his car and let him go, taking his money and smartphone. He apologized for the robbery and promised to return the smartphone the next day. To stay in touch, the robber asked for the victim's contacts, and the victim gave him his social network login.
You know what? Forget about the money. Everybody grab a broom. We are straightening this place up.
I have so many questions for this guy, and not a single answer.
600 nights for the price of one. It sounds like a modern version of some fairy tale, but it's actually a real story about a man named Ankush Dutta. One day, he booked a room at the famous Roseate House Hotel in Delhi and was supposed to leave the next day, but then something went wrong and the man stayed at the hotel continuously for almost a year and a half without paying a single penny for his stay, food, drinks, or any other services he used. How exactly did the man manage to pull off this feat? Deception? It's unclear. But the hotel has already filed a complaint against one of its employees, whom the management suspects of working together with the mystery guest. The owners also claim the losses for the 603 nights Ankush Duda secretly spent in the hotel totaled $70,000. And on the one hand, of course, that's a violation of the law. You can't do that.
But on the other hand, I'm very curious how he pulled that off.
See you later.